Hello, my astrology friends. This is Lada from AstroladaOfficial, and I'm here today with ancient Babylonian and Sidereal astrology Krasi Atasio, who will lead us through the month of April using Sidereal astrology. Plus, she will cover all the 12 signs with the tropical Western zodiac and with the Sidereal zodiac, whichever one you prefer to follow. Hello, Krasi.
Hello, Wada. Hello, everyone. Yes, we will be looking at April. Very intense. Too many celestial events are happening. Um, what I was thinking of something, we always give explain to people the main celestial event, and sometimes we say how beautifully, for example, Venus will enter Taurus, like now on the 7th of April, Venus is entering Taurus, which is gorgeous. And then people would wonder why we still live in this not very easy reality. And I feel that we need to remind that before that, more intense aspect took place. I think last time I just slightly mentioned about this. And these very intense events were like in the winter of 2020, we had Saturn Pluto conjunction. We had, let's say now in August, we had Rahu, Mars, Uranus conjunction. These are all very significant aspects which influence the whole generation, and they have their influence can last up until 30 years or even longer. That's why, indeed, we will be looking as usual at the most important celestial events and aspects and heliacal phases of planets for April and even further. But we should not forget this, that we still experience this a little bit intense and heavy reality and warlike situations due to previous more intense aspects which actually we still live through them. This
The
is what I
cycle.
wanted to
The cycle.
remind.
The cycles are very heavy. The yearly cycles that are for many years that we
Exactly, the
started every
cycle.
day. Yeah.
Yes, just to tell this, because sometimes I receive such questions. Yeah, but yeah, okay, Jupiter is entering in Pisces and he's supposed to give the best of his influence, but why then this and that is taking place? So I felt like making this brief introduction. So, yes, again, very interesting things are happening. One of them is, first of all, let's bring you just 2-3 days back. The Babylonian calendar, everyone knows that because every time we announce this, we announce the Sumerian New Year, which was approximately 1 month ago. And now the Babylonian New Year, the Lunar New Year, celebrated by many cultures. I think even the Indians, Chinese, many cultures, even the Arabs started Ramadan now on the 22nd of March, which is associated with the appearance of the first lunar crescent, which, as usual for our era, is classically happening in Pisces, of course, but this time was a little bit more interesting. I will not get into deep analysis of this, just briefly to mention Jupiter was conjoined the moon. In some parts of the world, we could see the conjunction. In other parts of the world, this was seen more as eclipse, like the moon was eclipsing Jupiter. And this, of course, will have several meanings, especially, you know, classically, Jupiter in the Babylonian mythology is Marduk. This is the king. And Mercury is Nabu. This is his son. And Jupiter also, Jupiter is disappearing on the 30th of March. Jupiter is disappearing, and 2 days
Becoming
before
invisible.
him, yeah, becoming invisible. And 2 days before him, Mercury becomes visible, the sun, like the king is becoming invisible and Mercury becomes visible. And here is the thing, Mercury Lada becomes visible in Pisces, where he's fallen. So yes, of course, this will be the omens. We all know them. We repeat a lot the story. Jupiter being the king disappears, you know, because he's Marduk, the king. Of course, there will be some drama with some king. We don't know who, which
Politician,
this
someone in a high position.
some mighty person, and then Mercury, not exactly at the same time, but 2 days before, Mercury becomes visible, but in Pisces. And I'm thinking that Pisces Mercury can be associated with fake image, with lots of lies. So we have to be very careful.
Mhm.
But of course, Jupiter is also money because he's associated with abundance. He's the children. Of course, this will not affect globally children. I mean, his abundance. And of course, this will be associated with deepening of financial issues and big lie, which may come to be said, like, but then could be that the one that will be taken down be replaced by illusion or a lie. So that I say this so that we are alert, so that we really check every single detail ourselves through our intuition and good research. Um, Otherwise, nothing different from the classical appearance of the moon in Pisces, but this detail matters. So other important detail, of course, on the 7th of April, Venus will enter Taurus. Of course, it cannot be better, Venus in Taurus, but we have this important aspect, a square by Saturn. So if we think that this Venus in Taurus will be saving us from financial crisis, this is not exactly the case because Saturn will be having pretty limiting, influence, and even traditionally, Saturn squaring Venus is always associated with some eventually financial challenges, losses. And finally, on the 26th of April, Jupiter is entering Aries to stay there 1 year. Super important, and Jupiter is in Aries. Jupiter is very powerful. He has some dignities in Aries. So this will be 1 year of very interesting aspect, and actually people who have Sidereal ascendant Aries will benefit very much from that. And the other good thing is that while Jupiter will be in Aries, he will make harmonious sextile to the transiting Saturn, and this will eventually soften a little bit the otherwise intense and heavy presence of Saturn in Aquarius. And very important thing, also in April, on the 4th, Saturn becomes visible. So how we look at that? Actually, my understanding of this Wada is on Saturn disappeared almost from visibility. He disappeared from the sky almost immediately after he entered Sidereal Aquarius. And we know, and it's also very logical. So Saturn entered Sidereal Aquarius on 3rd of January, around this date. And immediately he became invisible. And of course, we know, and it's very logical, that when he becomes invisible, he's taking away with himself what he represents. So I see him really now as, during his period of invisibility, more like demolishing the old, destroying old fundamental structures. And the changes that he made represent, and the changes that he will bring will start happening for us after 4th of April, because then he becomes visible. But we'll see this on basically how this will influence the 12th ascendant. And then eclipse. On the 20th of April, we've got eclipse. But people should not be so worried. Yes, eclipse is eclipse. We have them all the time. This year, we also have 4 eclipses. Like last year, they happened on the axis of Aries Libra. But I think this year, the eclipses will be a bit less intense because Jupiter participates in the eclipse points. And secondly, Saturn is not squaring anymore, but he will be sextiling the eclipses. And this is very important.
Oh, by the way, just
So,
want to say that Krasi is offering a special reading for all the eclipses this year, because eclipses are always fated events. that realign us to
The-
our faith. Some of the biggest things happen, like births, deaths, getting married, meeting the important people in your life. So she's making a special reading for all the four eclipses, how it will affect you personally this year, and is discounted from $200 to only $140. I'll put a link below if you're interested to have a private reading with Krasi to check it out just for a couple of weeks.
Yes, yes, thank you, Ada. Yes, so yes, these are, you see, many, all interesting, very intense celestial events all happening in April. So we will not be bored in May and April for sure. So we can look now at the 12 ascendants from both perspectives, as usual, sidereal and tropical. And of course, I will be also touching here and there upon this important aspect so people know how they will influence their realities. So, just a small second. So, as you know, as usual, we are looking from, oh, excuse me, it happened. Okay, so we will be looking at we will start with Aries, um, sidereal Aries, or this will be tropical Taurus, or if you're following the modern tropical zodiac, no, this will be yes, sidereal, tropical Taurus, sidereal Aries, or if you don't know your time of birth, you can use your moon sign. Now, give me just one small minute to adjust my horoscope. Okay, so uh, very interesting. Actually, until what is this? Until 7th of April, Venus will be on your ascendant. People who have sidereal ascendant Aries, and after that, Venus is entering your second house. And in the meantime, the placement still is very interesting. Saturn will be on your 11th house for almost 3 years, and also on the 4th of April, he becomes visible. This means that actually, um, with his appearance, um, he will bring changes related to um, your contacts, your social life, finances. So this can be very intense. After 4th of April, you can feel a little bit more the changes which Saturn is capable of giving while he will be on your 11th house. The also on the 26th of April, very good thing is that Jupiter is coming on your ascendant. 1 year of blessing, 1 year Jupiter on your ascendant. You certainly feel it in many ways. You feel like you feel well. You feel protected. You feel better, more joyful, even financially. Jupiter can be more benevolent for you. The eclipses for you also this year will be taking place on the axis of Aries Libra. This is your descendant, very intense. You already know how this feels because last year, 2022, all four eclipses took place on the same axis. So you know how it feels. It certainly was quite intense. Most probably this resulted in changes in your plans, even romantic life, maybe even career. This is very important thing. This year, the eclipses will be less intense for you because Jupiter participated in the eclipse point, and then Saturn is not anymore in Capricorn, from where he was creating very heavy square. Now he's sextiling the eclipse point. So this is a bit less intense. So this is a little bit better. So basically, um, indeed, in terms of eclipses, in terms of even the Saturn in influence, you should be having a relief already. Um, And the main energy that you will be experiencing in the month of April will be related to, again, career, finances, your social circle, but you will have the great blessing of Jupiter, that's for sure, because he will be right on your ascendant as of almost end of April. But anyhow, this will be lasting 1 full year for you. Now, let's see people who have Sidereal ascendant Taurus or moon in Taurus, or if you're following the modern tropical astrology, this will be Gemini. Now, for you, Saturn is already on your 10th house. You know that. I'm not telling you anything new. He will be transforming during this entire 3 years period, almost 3 years period, your career. But this will start and will be a bit more intense after 4th of April because of his heliacal phase. Also, Venus on 7th of April is entering Taurus. You feel her during the entire April. She'll be on your ascendant, even though see, Saturn will be square in Venus. This is not harmonious aspect, but still, Venus on your ascendant is a very good blessing, protection. This is good for your romantic life. This will soften the energies of Saturn, who otherwise will be very powerful when it comes to career and career changes that you will be going through anyway. How exactly your career changes will take place, it will depend on how Saturn is positioned in your natal horoscope. Now, also, very important was the presence of Jupiter during the first lunar crescent in your 11th house. And this for sure will have impact on your finances, on your social circle. There you also may experience changes. So it will be quite intense, but don't worry. I think that Venus is very helping factor on your ascendant during the entire April. Now we're looking at people who have sidereal ascendant Gemini or moon in Gemini, or if you're following the modern tropical astrology, this is Cancer. Now for you, your ascendant ruler Mercury becomes visible now in 4 days as an evening star, and this actually is quite powerful. He's your ascendant ruler, so this is actually you. Like you, planet which is associated with you very, very much. Of course, he appears in Pisces as fallen, which shows that you have to be watching out a little bit to be very careful to distinguish truth from a lie because of the nature of Pisces, if you want. But this is good in terms of knowledge, information, new financial opportunity. But again, watch out that you really distinguish what is the real fact, what is the truth from the lie, from the illusion. Of course, also Jupiter disappears on your 10th house, which can be very important and may bring changes related to your career place. Mars is on your ascendant the whole month of April, I think until 12th of May. So watch out a little bit how you communicate, be a little bit careful in your romantic life, be a little bit more diplomatic, watch out how you negotiate, how you drive during this period of time. Saturn on 4th of April will become visible on your 9th house, which can bring changes in relation to eventually travel, studies, information, teaching, and all this. Now we're looking at people who have sidereal ascendant Cancer or moon in Cancer, or if you're following the modern tropical astrology, this will be Leo. Now the moon is your lord, of course, and this year the moon appeared for the first time by eclipsing, occulting or making occultation towards Jupiter, which was very interesting. It's very powerful, actually. The moon was very mighty in this particular moment. This happens on your 9th house. Jupiter disappears there. Mercury appears there, which can be related to new knowledge, new choice of education, new contacts abroad, new travel plans, all this, even new career plans, especially if your career is related to the ninth house. Saturn appears for the first time on your eighth house, and he's ruling the seventh house. So you may need to be a little bit more diplomatic, careful, intuitive with your partner, with your romantic life, your romantic partner, and so on. Venus is entering soon, 7th of April, Taurus. Your 11th house she's entering, and this is fine for the finances. So I think that this will be benevolent for you. Just watch out a little bit for your health and be a little bit more diplomatic when it comes to agreements, communication, and your romantic partner as well. Now we are looking at people who have Sidereal ascendant Leo, or moon in Leo, or if you're following modern tropical astrology, this will be a Virgo. Now for you, Saturn is on your 7th house, and he will become visible very soon on 4th of April. He will be on your 7th house 2.5 years, and this is very important transit. How exactly this will work out in your horoscope depends on how Saturn is placed in your horoscope. But anyhow, on 4th of April, he becomes visible. It means that up until now, if you did not experience very intense changes in 7th house matters like agreements, also in your romantic life, negotiations even, you may see this happening after 4th of April. This means that you may need to be very diplomatic when it comes to any partnership, business, private, romantic. When it comes to even any justice-related matters, like even court cases, you have to be very diplomatic, because Saturn becomes visible, and then he will start acting. He will give more changes related to this house in your horoscope. Also, Venus is entering your 10th house. This will be quite helpful when it comes to career, but of course, she will be limited a little bit by Saturn, so Venus will not be able to open up and give you her full potentials. However, this is still very helpful, Venus in your 10th house. The Mars will be on your 11th house, which is related to your social circle, your gains, even communication with children, even plans, and you may need to be a little bit more attentive with children, more diplomatic when it comes to friendship, social circle, and more careful when it comes to financial decisions. So let's take a look now at people who have Sidereal ascendant Virgo or moon in Virgo, or if you're following the modern tropical astrology, this will be Libra. Now for you, as every year, also this year the moon appeared for the first time on your 7th house. This is very usual, but this year we had some differences, which is the presence of Jupiter there, and the moon made occulted Jupiter, meaning she hid him, hiding, and also Jupiter is disappearing, and Mercury is becoming visible. This is quite powerful, and eventually may show influence and changes related to your 7th house. These could be some changes related to agreements, to negotiations, to court cases, to matters, justice-related matters. This can even have impact on your romantic life, so you may need to be a little bit more cautious, diplomatic there. Mars will be on your 10th house until 12th of May. This is your career place. Also there you may need to be a bit more diplomatic. Saturn appears for the first time on your 6th house, which is your routine, your career place, your everyday job. So after 4th of April, Saturn can show you some changes with your subordinates, with people who share your routine environment. You also may need to be a little bit more responsible for your health during this period of time, especially during his first appearance. Now, we're looking at people who have Sidereal ascendant Libra or Moon in Libra, or if we are following the modern tropical astrology, this will be Scorpio. Now, right now for you, Venus is still in Aries. Yes, she's fallen, but still, this is blessing over your, romantic life, over your agreements, negotiations. So this is fine. On 7th of April, Venus is entering your 8th house, which will be fine for finances of your partner, finances which you can generate from partnerships or other unexpected sources. But of course, Saturn is limiting Venus a little bit, means that you may need to apply some time orientation, more discipline if you want these financial matters to take place, because Saturn is quite, you see, he loves Venus, but still he may limit her a little bit. Saturn appears for the first time on your 5th house on 4th of April. And this is actually very interesting when it comes to knowledge. This can bring you actually unexpected knowledge or interests in creative knowledge or in creativity, or in talented work, in spirituality. Saturn also trines Mars, who will be on your 9th house of knowledge, education, travel, communication with people abroad. So he's trining Mars until 12th of May. And this is also very interesting because this can be related to your drive to travel, to research, to study, to share your knowledge with others. So this is quite positive. Some changes you may experience related to your 6th house matters. This may mean changes in your routine environment. Some old fundamental habits may change because Jupiter disappears right there. It shows also that you may give special attention to your health, not because of any dramatic changes, but still the health matter is important in general because there is emphasis on health because of these specific movements happening in Pisces. Also, the eclipse on 20th of April is taking place on the axis of Libra Aries, but do not worry so much. This year, Saturn is not making this very heavy square anymore. To make these eclipses very, very difficult. They will be less intense. But you know how it feels because last year all four happened on your axis of ascendant descendant. Most probably they had impact on your personal choices, romantic life, career, even home situation. This year, this will be less felt. It won't be really that intense, so do not worry so much. Now we're looking at people who have sidereal ascendant Scorpio, or Moon in Scorpio, or if you're following the modern tropical astrology, this will be Sagittarius. Now Mars, your ascendant ruler until 12th of May, will be on your 8th house. Actually, Mars in your 8th house is showing your drive towards occultism, esoteric knowledge, even finances which you can generate via partnership or via unexpected sources. So this is not so bad. This is valid until 12th of May. Saturn becomes visible on your 4th house on 4th of April. Then you experience a little bit more powerfully the changes which he's supposed to give you while he will be transiting on your 4th house, which is home, also career. So this is the area where he may be influencing you very much. The important phase of Jupiter and Mercury will happen on your 5th house, which is very interesting. This may bring you changes related to talented work, to creative knowledge, to interest in some new studies, new education, new knowledge, new art, and so on. So this will be actually very interesting. Now we're looking at people who have Sidereal ascendant Sagittarius or moon in Sagittarius, or if you're following the modern tropical astrology, this will be Capricorn. Now Jupiter is your ascendant ruler, and he was eclipsed on 22nd of March by the moon, and also he will be invisible now. Of course, this is personally for you is important because he rules you. This is your ascendant ruler. Could be that this is related to personal choices, to drastic change in your interests, in your plans. Could be that after this April already, even during April, even that you take total change in the course of action, like you opt for everything, you may really make drastic change. Also, Jupiter is doing these movements in your fourth house. This may directly be related to career and home, because while Jupiter becomes invisible, Mercury becomes visible. However, you may need to be a little bit more careful not to get into any, to be misled or to be put in illusionary state. Also, until 12th of May, Mars is on your 7th house to influence your romantic life, negotiations, court cases, any agreements or contracts or partnerships. So you may need to be a little bit more diplomatic and careful there and more intuitive. But for the rest, Venus who entered Taurus on 7th of April, this is your 6th house. This will be supportive for your health, can support and bring peace in your routine environment. Now we look at people who have Sidereal ascendant Capricorn or moon in Capricorn, or if you're following the modern tropical astrology, this will be Aquarius. Now for you, your ascendant ruler Saturn is on your second house in Aquarius, and he will become visible now on 4th of April to manifest, to bring changes related to your finances. Now, this year and the next, during, I think it was late December of 2025, somehow finances will be very important. Also, family roots, communication with them, all this will be very, very important. And the changes that you may go through will start being more visible after 4th of April with the first appearance of Saturn. In the meantime, the eclipses happen on quite important point, but they are less intense than last year. They happen on your 10th, 4th houses. In case that this is the place of your midheaven and lower meridian, you may feel a bit more the presence of the eclipses, their energies, and they may bring you further changes related to your career and home place. But of course, how exactly this happens has to be seen in your horoscope. However, they will be less intense, less scary than last year because Saturn is not squaring anymore the eclipse point, because Jupiter will be participating and so on. So do not worry so much. In the meantime, Mars is traveling through your 6th house. Be a little bit more responsible for your health and be more diplomatic when it comes to communication with people who share your routine environment, your subordinates or colleagues and so on. Now we're looking at people who have Sidereal ascendant Aquarius or moon in Aquarius, or if you follow with modern astrology, this will be Pisces. Now Saturn is on your ascendant where he will stay in almost 3 years. He becomes visible on 4th of April. This is important because he will influence your ascendant, yourself, your choices, your plans very much. How exactly he will work in your horoscope can be seen in your chart, depending on how Saturn is placed. But anyhow, you may need to be a little bit more diplomatic, carefully to communicate and with love, with your partner. Any negotiation, any partnership, you may need to be a little bit more cautious. Also, the first appearance of the moon with her eclipsing Jupiter took place on your second house. So together with the changes of your choices, personal choices, you may experience changes related to finances, to communication with family roots, something with family roots. Also, Mars until 12th May will be on your fifth house. Watch out a little bit, be more attentive with children, but Mars there actually can give you good things, which will be drive to creative knowledge, drive to study, to know, to do artistic work, to experience pleasure, mainly through knowledge, through books, and so on. In the meantime, Venus until 7th of April will be on your third house, from where she supports travel, study, communication, so this is okay. Now we will look at people who have sidereal ascendant Pisces or moon in Pisces, or if you're following the modern tropical astrology, this will be Aries. Now for you, as usual, as every year, the moon appears for the first time in Pisces, but this time Jupiter was also there, Mercury was there, and the moon briefly eclipsed Jupiter, which was not seen from every part of the world. In some parts of the world, we could see it as we could have seen it as conjunction. Anyhow, this change, important change happening on your ascendant, is related to you, to your personal plans, to your personal choices. Could be related to career choices too, because Jupiter is not only representing you, but Jupiter is representing your career place because he's ruling your career place. The appearance to become visible of Mercury in your ascendant shows also some new plans that can come out, new decisions. Just watch out, not that this does not to be in illusionary state a little bit, because Mercury is fallen in Pisces and his appearance is powerful, but in Pisces can be a little bit misleading. In addition, Mars will be on your fourth house until 12th of May. Watch out a little bit when you communicate with parents, at home, be diplomatic, be careful a bit also. Venus is on your second house until 7th of April, and this could be benevolent for your finances. So this is more or less the situation for the month of April, Lada. Also, actually, yes, we mentioned about, yeah, Wada.
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm just didn't want to.
I know. Sure, yeah. Yeah, so these are the main things. Many celestial events. It will be interesting in April. Quite life-changing though,
Yeah, I know. I just did my Western tropical astrology predictions for April, and I had to do like 30 minutes for every sign. There were so many things happening.
So many things. Yes, indeed. And if you combine them, it becomes a very interesting, powerful situation.
I know, but always when eclipses start, it gets interesting. So we're entering that phase. And again, I'm repeating, if you'd like a personal reading with Krasi focused on eclipses in particular, I'm putting a link below because she's offering a great discount of $60 for a personal reading with her, focused on the next till the end of the year, including the eclipses in particular. Thank you so much, Krasi. Oh, I forgot to say, but we're starting a course with Krasi. Will be doing a course. We'll do an interview again about that. It will be on April 22nd about astrology, practical astrology magic. and it will be a few hours. We'll do a special interview about it to tell you more about it if you're interested to learn astrological magic, which is Krasi's greatest power. She even does jewelry using astrological magic, talismans, and doing it the ancient ways, how they used to do it 5,000 years ago. It's nothing new agey, very old school.
Oh no, no new age stuff here. No.
So thank you so much. I'll put the link below for the course as well if you're interested. But we'll make another video soon to tell you more about it. Thank you. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Kras.
Wada. Thank you, everyone. All the best.